I've also went through a separation from my husband, so that's what brought me to Texas. And now I'm here, starting over. Oh man, I had to live in the car. I had to get dressed from the car. I had to figure out what I was going to eat from the car. So that was challenging. Went from hotel to hotel. Couldn't afford that, and finally got a place. And then COVID-19 hit, and inflation and cost of living was on the rise, and then life started lifing for me, and so I couldn't afford that anymore. And then I heard about Arlington Life Shelter, and I ended up packing up all my things once my lease ended, threw everything in the trash, started over. My apartment manager was telling me that she knew of a shelter in Arlington. It's called Arlington Life Shelter. And she said, I heard that, that they're pretty good with families. They, you and your family can stay together, and you can go there and they'll, accommodate you the things you need. And it's called Arlington Life Shelter for me to see if they had a bed available. And they was like, oh yeah, we have a bed, available for her and her daughter. She can come over. We do intake at 1 o'clock, and she can come and we'll take her in. So I came over, caught an Uber over to Arlington Life Shelter, and that was August the 1st, and I stayed for 4 months. Standing outside, I knew that it was, okay, it's a decent shelter. It's very nice and clean, even on the outside, right? Then a guy came out, and I was asking him, how is the shelter on the inside? And he was like, oh my God, it's very nice. And then we walked in, and my daughter was like, oh my God, I love this hotel. So I knew it was God confirming to me, okay, well, you're in the right spot. You're doing good. And then, like I felt like, okay, well, this is a good place for us. And it was nice and clean, and staff was very professional with the intake and showing me around and making me feel at home the very first day. So then I knew, okay, well, every day after this will be easy for me to get better. And it did. It did. I like the fact that they had a system that they went by as far as when you can come in, when you can go out, and how late you can stay out, and the time frame they put on getting a job and getting yourself together kind of motivated you to do what you needed to do. And then they accommodated, but could accommodate everyone as an individual too. So I might have different needs. I might be in the same situation with other people, but I have my different needs, and they had staff that could accommodate those different needs. That's what I did like about it. The fact that I was able to stay with my daughter up in a room, and we were still together, that's what I like too. Yeah. We had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I thought that was great too, because you're coming from homelessness, you can't really afford to eat. So by them providing food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that was a major help to me as well. They had a parenting class. That's what I liked the most. Even though I have a daughter, right, I don't know everything about parenting. So they had like Cook's Children come to explain illness. They had CPR classes for us, and financial class to teach you how to save and work on your credit, and I like that as well. Even the legal aid, they had legal aid to come, and it helped me learn a lot about how my credit score was impacting my homelessness, right? There was a lot of things that was going on with my credit that I didn't know about until I spoke with legal aid. So I was thankful for the shelter having legal aid to come in and help me along those lines. Housing manager, Ms. Muji, she called me to the office, and she said, well, we found a voucher for you. It's the Arlington housing voucher. That right there was a life-changing moment for me, because I knew I had gotten over the hard part, right? And I still had a ways to go, but that made me feel like, okay, now I have the solid foundation to move on. And that's what I came to Arlington Life Shelter for, just to get a hand up, not a hand out, but I ended up getting both at the same time. So I was grateful for that. And like I said, having housing really helped me, because it was not that I just wanted to be homeless or not pay my rent, it was that I couldn't afford the rent. So for Arlington Life Shelter to partner with Arlington Housing and to help me get the help that I needed, I very much appreciate that. And that was a life-changing point for me. Right now, I am working on getting a car. I am back in the work life because at first, like I said, when I first had my daughter, I just stayed at home with her, didn't work. So when I got to Arlington Life Shelter, they helped me get her in school, and they showed me, they told me about a place called Texas Workforce, and sometimes I would go there and just do job searches, and then I'll be going back to work, and my daughter's doing good. She's going to first grade, and we really have the solid foundation that I was looking for. I just would say this, you know, everybody deserves a second chance. That's what I want to say about the homeless community. I have ran into a lot of homeless people since I've been in my situation, right? And I've heard their stories, and I'm just like, yeah, they deserve a second chance. And Arlington Life Shelter offers that second chance to everybody. It's like nobody's not hurt, right?